Good evening and welcome to tonight's Table Talk with Parents. My name is Alicia Knoll and I have the privilege of serving as the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs here at Wichita State University. One of the things that we like to do within our Shocker Family programs is find opportunities and ways to engage with our families as their students journey throughout their academic career here with us at Wichita State. And as part of our Shocker family, we know that you have students who are getting ready to start the process with us. It doesn't seem like it can be real for the simple fact that they have yet to even graduate high school. And so we want to just talk about what you as a parent can expect as your student gets ready to sign up for our new student orientation program. And what does that look like for you as a parent? And really, what can you expect from your Shocker family as your student prepares for this journey and throughout? Throughout today's session, feel free to drop any comments or questions that you may have in the chat, and Kim and I will be more than happy to answer those as they come in. Like I said, my name is Alicia Knoll, and I am a proud alum of Wichita State. I have been with the university for about 19 years. And as a first generation college student, it's really important for me as an administrator and an alum to make sure that I am giving back not only to our students, but the institution itself, and making sure that our students and our families have what they need in order to navigate and be successful during their time here at Wichita State. And so with me is my colleague and dear friend, Kim Sandlin, who serves as the Director for Student Success. She is everything Shocker Nation. I like to consider her my Shocker sister and sidekick on campus. And so I'm going to turn it over for her. She too is a proud alum of the university to talk about what your students can expect and really kind of that process as you prepare to get them on their next chapter and journey and joining Shocker Nation. So help me welcome Ms. Kim Sandlin.
Hello, good evening, everyone. As Alicia said, my name is Kim Sandlin. I serve you and I serve your students as the Director of Student Success. And really our job is to make sure that we are supporting students at whatever point they are in their journey here to be as successful as possible and to help them maximize their potential for success while they're here. So we're going to kind of jump in. I'm an alum as well. I forgot to mention that, and I've been here about 25 years and have worked with new students for 22 of those 25 years, worked with in admissions before then. And so working with our brand new students is something that I really enjoy. It's what I have known and what I have done for most of my professional career. So I'm glad you're here with us, and I'm glad to be here to be able to share this information with you. So as Alicia said, we do as much as we can to help you as a new parent come through our processes with your student. We see you as a partner in this. And we want to make sure that you all know that we are here as much for you as we are for our students. And so I'm going to look over to my screen here. So if I'm not looking at you all in wherever you're joining from, just know that I have some notes that I want to make sure that I cover so that we get some critical points covered tonight. So let's jump into orientation. This process opens for your student signing up for orientation and the enrollment process on March 1st, which is next Wednesday. It's always a countdown on campus to March 1st, because that's when all of our new students with new energy, new experiences start really becoming real students for us. Of course, they're students right now, but they're not really ours yet, and we want them to be ours. And so where there's always some excitement and anticipation for that March 1st roll around for us. So we are excited about that. At our post office, sitting right now in our post office on campus, are some mailers that you're going to get. Here's one I can show you. You're going to get something like this in your mailbox soon. As long as your address came over in the system correctly, we are good. We are missing some addresses, so we're doing a little work on that. So if you don't get it right away, it will be in the mail to you shortly. But regardless, this process starts for you all that have new students starting with us on March 1st. So this has all kinds of information in it. It folds out. It's pretty fancy, has lots of QR codes. It's going to walk you through a lot of information. It's going to talk about a little bit about housing and residence life, first year experience, our care team, first year seminar, advising, scholarships. It's going to give you a quick checklist as well. And so this is a great piece that's going to land in your houses, at your homes, relatively soon. So what we try to do is time it so that it arrives on or around March 1st. But again, you don't have to wait on this to get started with the process. If March 1st rolls around and you want to jump in and sign up and get the process going, go for it. Want to talk a little bit about the types of programs, the two types of freshman programs that we have available for our new students coming in. We have freshman orientation and we have freshman extended orientation. There is a difference between the two. The extended is exactly that. It is a longer program. So to back up to the regular, just freshman orientation, that is a 2-day program. And that's all day. It's a long day on day 1. And then our students come back for day 2. Both days are required. And I should mention orientation is required of all of our new students, regardless of the credit hours that they already may have earned. So just know that it's a requirement your students will have to complete. So, but that freshman orientation is a 2-day program, long first day and then a shorter second day, where we really take the opportunity to introduce your students and you to people on campus, to processes on campus. We'll update you as the summer goes. Our presentations get updated depending on, when do bills get hit accounts? When is housing opening? When should I expect this information and that kind of thing. So we update as the summer goes in all of our presentations to bring you kind of the real-time experience of what you should be experiencing or seeing throughout the summer before you get here in August. That we do have a parent and guest program on day 1. We will not have a parent and guest program on day 2. So just know that going in, and it is completely optional for parents and guests to attend. You do not have to attend both days or either day. Your student, and we have a number of students who come with no guests, and that's perfectly fine. It's what works well for your family. And that's what is really most important, is what works well for your student, what works well for you. And then, we hope that all of you join us in this experience. So we think it's pretty fun. We try to make it really fun for both you and your student. The extended orientation program involves a dinner and some evening programs, and our students who participate will stay overnight on campus in the residence hall. So students or parents would have to find other hotel arrangements for that evening if you're choosing that opportunity. Just the students stay on campus overnight, but there's that additional kind of activities that we include. It is a much more traditional experience, so our students are getting the stay up late, meet new friends kind of through this experience as well. Okay, Tina, I see your question coming from Wisconsin. My suggestion is always to consider, if not attend, the extended program. It's going to give her more social interaction with new students. Some of our students will meet at orientation and will find roommates, and they'll talk to housing and see if they can become roommates if they're not already roommates, or request each other or whatnot. So it's a deeper kind of experience in terms of feeling at home on campus and having the experience of staying overnight in the residence halls. You can test out the mattress. You can look at how big or small this feels to you. And so that experience is really nice to have. We have 2 of those extended programs over the course of the summer, one in June, one in July. And then I think we have an additional 7 of the regular freshman programs. So I think, for a total of 9. It doesn't matter which program you choose. If you choose to come early in the summer, great. If you choose to come in late July and early August, that's fine too. Things to think about and consider when you're choosing which program to come to or the date for your program. Obviously, your summer plans, any travel plans that you have. Is your student going to be participating in any program like Passage to Success, the C Academy, the Shocker Engineering Academy? Some of those special programs happen a week before classes begin. So you want to take those kind of opportunities. You want to take advantage of them, number one, but you want to consider that when you're trying to choose which orientation to come to. I would also say the earlier you come in the summer, the more time there is to forget all of the information that you learned. We have a lot of students want to come first thing because they're super excited and we're excited, and it's kind of the hurry up and wait game. So you get here, you do your orientation, and then you wait for about 12 weeks. And it's a long time. And sometimes we don't retain all of that information and kind of almost need a refresher once we get to campus and once we get to move in. So just some things to keep in mind. I encourage people to not come to the first 1 or 2 programs just because there is that gap. Now, if your family's traveling, that may not be possible for you. So again, it's really what's most important, what best fits your family's schedules and your students' interests as well. So I'm going to go through. Oh, yes. Okay. So Brett, I see your question too. Do we have extended dates yet? Yes. All of the dates are on our website. If you go to wichita.edu/orientation, and you actually can click on RSVP for orientation. And then there's a lot of information there. It's going to give you kind of an accordion file of each of the dates. If I will go there actually right now. As I'm talking, I'll see how good I am at talking and navigating to that website at the same time, which sometimes I can do real well and other times it's a disaster. So we shall find that out together. All right, yes. So if you go to the wichita.edu/orientation, sign up for orientation is the button, the black button that you'll click on. And then if you scroll down a little bit, all of the program dates are listed. So the freshman orientation 2-day program, it'll list out those. For the extended programs, it's June 22nd and 23rd and July 24th and 25th. So hopefully that works with your schedule. If not, again, those 2-day programs, perfectly fine. Your students are going to connect with our transition mentors who are first year student, or not first year student, sorry, they were at one time, but they are going to mentor your students throughout their entire first semester, and they will be making contact and connections with people on campus, regardless of the program that they come to. Alicia, did you want to jump in here real quick?
Yeah, no, while you were looking that up online, I was going to cover for you, but
I actually was able to do it that time, so I was happy about that.
Yep.
So we get better and better and better. By this time, we should be able to have like 15 screens. All right. Another question, flying in for WSU Day in March. We will be there if you're attending the WSU Day. So I think what the plan is, and don't quote me because I'm not in charge of this program. I just show up and have a good time, quite frankly. I believe the computer lab in the library is going to be open. I will be there, and some of our students will be there, and we'll help you kind of make those determinations and ask those questions, and anything that you have, through that sign up process, we can answer at that time. So we'll see you there. And then from Dawn, does the orientation date we select have any bearing on students' schedule and classes? Excellent question. No is the answer. So let me go through this just a little bit. So March 1st, you can go to wichita.edu/orientation. You can click the button that says sign up for orientation, and then there's another one that says sign up for orientation. So you got to click it twice to get in. You're going to sign in using your student's credentials. I know how it is to be, I'm a parent of a current high school student, and I know how we like to be involved. And I know how many of us do a lot of the things that our students could do or should do. And if you are the one that is going to fill this out, I understand that. But at minimum, have your student there to talk about what type of program that they want to attend, because it's important that they get what they want as well. Understand that sometimes we're not maybe on the same page of what that could be. And that's for you all to talk about as a family. But please involve your student in this process and date selection, type of program selection, because you're going to go in, you're going to select your program date first, your orientation program date first, and then it launches into the enrollment questionnaire, which is a whole series of questions that you will answer in this platform for us. And the answers that your student and you together as a team are going to give in the enrollment questionnaire are going to guide the advisors to build your student's schedule. Okay. So making those schedules and enrolling in classes is separate from orientation. So if you sign up for your program on March 1st and you want to come in August, that doesn't mean you have to wait till August to enroll. You're in the enrollment funnel there. So you're going to be able to get to your student enrolled, or your student's going to be able to get a class schedule, a few days after, probably 2 weeks. I think they ask for 10 days time to get the information, process it, build the schedule, send it out to the student for approval as well. And so I can spend some time on that enrollment process if we've got some time a little bit later. But to answer your question quickly, no, the date that you select for orientation has no effect on getting the class schedule or anything like that. Completely separate process. So, all right, somebody's watching basketball on TV. I know we're playing Memphis and it's a blackout game, and I'm here with y'all. So I'm excited to see how well we do tonight. So go Shockers. All right, moving on with some more orientation information. As I said earlier, I want to make sure that you all know the parent sessions that we have, the parent and guest session we have for orientation, again, completely optional. You don't have to come. We encourage you to come because, again, we want you to be part of the process, and you're meeting a lot of people on campus. You're meeting some of our transition mentors, and then you get a lot of information about Shocker Family Programs, this is one of the things that you get by kind of joining, joining the Shocker Family Programs groups there. The last thing before I throw it over for Alicia, because I know she's probably wanting to jump in here. When it comes to orientation fees, there's a couple other things too. I'm going to talk about fees and then I'm going to throw it over to Alicia. When it comes to orientation fees, there's let me go back here. For the 2-day orientation, your students are the student fee is $150 and it's $30 per guest. If you choose the extended freshman program, the student fee is $190 and $40 per guest. The difference there in the students is basically the cost of staying overnight in the residence hall. And then we provide an extra meal for families, and inflation is inflation, y'all, and it's real. So we try to keep our costs as low as possible, but want to make sure that you all are aware of those fees. You do not have to pay your fee in advance. You don't have to pay your fee at the program. It's added to your tuition and fee bill, and you are only charged for the number of guests who show up. So if right now the plan is, mom, dad, and sibling to attend, but something happens and your summer gets crazy and it's just dad who comes, then we're only going to charge dad. We're not going to charge everybody who signed up. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to pause here and I'll let Alicia jump in because there's some more things that I want to talk about specifically to the parent orientation part.
Yeah. So the one thing that I wanted to address in relation to Tina regarding coming from Wisconsin, Kim already hit on the extended orientation. And for us, I think providing some of those unique opportunities with orientation of students who are traveling from further distances is really creating an opportunity for them to create a sense of belonging, and a sense of belonging with trying to cohort students together. And really, when they're in those situations of being overnight and there's so many activities and things, they keep them going all night. There's those opportunities for them to really find their tribe and their crew while they're here. And so you'll hear a lot of orientation from both myself and Kim, because again, we're partners in crime, and talking to parents about when it's time to cut the cord and when it's time to let them go with their people, and okay, you're going to come back and join them in the morning. And we had some parents a couple of times who wanted to stay all night and go to the DJ party with them, and we're like, no, your student doesn't want to party with you. And so throughout this entire experience, we are on this journey with you. And so throughout the summer, so from now all the way through actually next October, Kim and I have planned multiple segments just like this that talk more in depth and specific to the enrollment piece. What does that look like? What does move-in look like? What does my student need to bring with them to the resident halls? When is it time for them to sign up for a roommate? All of those good things. And so don't freak out and worry that you need to get everything answered today. We will be back monthly, sometimes twice a month. And so my hope is that this is really just an introduction of what you can expect. And the beauty of this entire process is that because many of our families are out of town, we want to bring Shocker Nation to you and to your living room. And so we will bring the experts to join us and have them connect with you so that we can have these conversations and provide an opportunity for you to ask questions and get the most information so you feel comfortable sending your student to us and making sure that you know that you picked the right place. Your student feels comfortable in coming and they feel like this is the right place. Because if this doesn't feel like home for the next 4 to 5 years while your student's here, it's going to be hard for us to retain them. And you're a significant part of that process. And so I just wanted to kind of hit on that in regards to coming and orientation. Kim's crew does a phenomenal job of putting together a parent program portion together for parents where it's completely separate from your student. And so we talk a lot about that anxiety that parents have and come into orientation. And when you meet me and I'm doing your session, You're half of the time freaking out because your students are off in a different session and you want to know, what are they telling them? I need to know that information. No, you don't. Because we're here to give you the information that you need in order to remind and connect with your students. And so we want to make sure that they're doing the student stuff and connecting and building connections and feeling that sense of community while we're giving you all of the important vital information during the parent session to give reminders and all of the to-do lists and things, right? And so don't fret and worry. We are along this journey with you. And it doesn't stop today. We have many more. So if you go to our website, wichita.edu/family, you'll be able to see a list of upcoming events that we have that will dive in a little deeper to some more questions and just topics that we'll have throughout this summer. So, Kim?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yes. Want to mention and talk a little bit about the parent session being separate, because for some parents, that's a big deal. So you will be separated from your student right off the bat. So what's going to happen is you're going to check into our program. We're going to tell your student where they're going, and they're going to go this way, and you're going to go upstairs. So, that's sometimes hard for parents to be okay with. At the beginning, some parents are like, peace, we'll see you later. And they check it out. They get the free coffee. They're like, I think shopping sounds good. And they just, hang out in town, which is great. If that suits you, do it. It's really a flexible program, our parent program. It's a come and go kind of thing. So we understand that you all may be, if you're in from out of town, or even if you're just in from a couple blocks away, you may be kind of tethered to your job and you may need to kind of check in a few times. So getting up, going outside, making a phone call, doing whatever you want, leaving campus and going to, get coffee or something to eat or whatever, totally fine. It's not, we're not going to be after you like we are going to be after your students. Your students don't get to leave with you. They have to be in their sessions, and we take, measures to make sure that everybody's present and accounted for at different points of the day. But you are separate from your students. I have had to walk out to where the students are doing games and icebreakers and ask parents to find their way to our ballroom, because this is not the time for them to participate in the icebreakers meant for their students. I've seen parents looking longingly out the window, watching their student, which is perfectly fine, because I think there's a legitimate worry there among parents that, are they going to be okay? Like, I trust that, the university is going to take care of them, and I'm not worried about that, but are they going to be okay? Are they going to become overwhelmed, or are they going to find a friend, and are they smiling? Do they look like they're having a good time? That kind of thing. And that's real. But we'll keep our eye out for those students who may not be connecting right away. Now, all of that said, I have had parents come up to me and say, this is the situation with my student. Is it okay that I'm not in the parent program, but kind of follow, but not as a participant? And it's all good. Like, if there is a special need or a special request or something like that with your student, just communicate that with us, and we will work with you to make sure that, alleviate fear. And if it's, something that your student needs you, then, we'll talk about that and what that looks like, and figure out what we can do to make both you and your student comfortable throughout the program. So we know there's a lot of anxiety among our students, and this is a program that heightens anxiety among students because it's unknown. For my kid, it's like, I'm fine once I get there, but I don't know what to expect walking in. And that's the fear for him, right? So once he's there, he's like, I got this. But leading up to that, when he doesn't know what to expect, that causes a little bit of anxiety for him. So I get it. But communicate with us is what I'm trying to say. Don't be hanging around with your student during icebreakers and games, because those aren't designed for you. They are designed for your students. So, okay. I'm going to switch back over to questions here. Is there a limit on the number of students allowed for orientation session, particularly extended? Because, okay, Phil, great question. We normally do not max out at our extended. Those are typically a little bit smaller programs. I would say on average, roughly, and nothing is predictable anymore after our year and a half of the world ending and then not ending. Nothing is super predictable. I will say that we had about 150 students at our extended program. So as long as you're signing up, starting, again, that process starts March 1st. So as long as you're signing up, you're going to be fine. I would say even you probably could sign up for an extended clear through the entire month of March and into April before anything's going to close. What tends to close are the first two programs because everybody's excited, and then they're like, it gets to where we're making reminder calls and they're like, oh, just kidding, we're not coming that early, can we reschedule? So typically we don't have too many people needing to get into programs. The capacities are as high as we can make them, so you all will be fine. I also wanted to address Brett's question, getting an error. Yes, that's because this process isn't open yet. It opens March 1st. So you got to wait. I'm sorry to say you got to wait. So this program tonight is just to kind of run through what to expect. But once March 1st hits, and probably not at midnight, guys, so don't stay up late. I promise you, it will be okay. If it's March 2nd or 3rd, it will be fine. We don't run out of spaces at orientation. We don't get into a situation where students aren't getting classes. That doesn't happen until way later in the summer, especially classes. So I'll address that one first. Classes typically start closing, and students or the advisors kind of have to get a little bit creative beginning in July, maybe June, but we're in March. We're fine. If you go through this sign up process anytime in the month of March, you are fine. And if you're not, you can call me directly and I will make it fine for you. So know that we just can't, we have a lot of moving parts to this. So we just unfortunately can't open that process up prior to March 1st. So, all right. Alicia, did you want to pop in?
Yeah, no. And like Kim had said already, when signing up for orientation, really those first couple orientations, students are going to forget, as well as you, everything that we said those first couple orientations. And so if you wait a little later into the summer, thank you. Much appreciated. But I will tell you, a lot of times we get parents who say, do I have to come? Do I need to come? It's really up to you if you choose to come or not. One of the things that selfishly, I want to see you because there is a session that I do with parents. Actually, there's a couple times that I get to engage and connect and work with parents. And I'm kind of the campus mom for the university, and being able to establish and connect with some of our parents helps me to understand, okay, what is it that we can expect this coming year? And being able to just talk with parents about who their students are, what they've experienced, what are their expectations, and also share what our expectations are of parents of students coming into the university. But the other part, though, is that if you're not able to make it, don't worry about it. Because if you sign up for our Shocker Family newsletter, that's something that's sent out monthly. We will also continue these series throughout the academic year because we really want to find ways to stay connected and engaged with you, the parent and family. But through our newsletter, we're also giving you information of what's happening on campus, what your students should be doing, opportunities and ways for you to engage with the campus community, and more importantly, reminders. We want to make sure that the information we're sharing with your student, you also have that, because it could be like, oh, mom, why are you telling me to get in and sign up for orientation? Well, they're hearing it from you. They're hearing it from us. They're hearing it from their peers. And so the more information that you have to help empower your students or encourage them, the better it's going to be for all of us involved. And so it's really important that we keep you a part of that process. And so whatever works for you, we're here for it. We have a parent lounge that is provided there. So there'll be snacks and places for you to plug in with your computers if you need to log in for work or whatnot, coffee, all of that good stuff. But also, as a parent myself, I look for opportunities for me to engage and connect with other parents for my own student. And for me, it's, hey, I'm from Wichita. Anybody else from the Wichita area? Oh, great. Well, when you come home, do you think that maybe my kid could catch a ride with you? Different things of that. And just really having that other family support wherever you're at. I think one of the greatest things about orientation is that as students later in the process, they're going to start signing up for roommates and all of that great stuff. And one of the things that I absolutely love the most is when students are at orientation and they get to meet their roommate and they're like, oh, I just met Kim, and Kim's going to bring the refrigerator and I'm going to bring the TV. And so it's a really great opportunity to also utilize orientation as a way to connect with roommates, to meet your roommates' families as well, because you all become a part of that process and supporting them through their journey. So I'll just end that there and throw it back over to Kim.
Yeah, I would just follow that up. If you know who your student is rooming with, talk to them before you select a date, and then you can meet in person. Sometimes you know that information, sometimes you don't. So I get that. If you happen to know that information, that's another kind of thing to think about. If your student's coming with friends, if you're maybe tuning in from a couple blocks over, and your student knows some other local students, maybe coming from their high schools, or maybe they're involved in city clubs and organizations and things like that, and they know they're coming to Wichita State, make sure that they know that, know the date before, and they can all sign up to come to the same program. Now, they may not be in the same groups because we will split them up according to academic major and college and all of that. But at least they would have a friendly face. Sometimes that, lessens the anxiety there of kind of that unknown. I do want to back up to something I said earlier, and that we've shared, meaning that, we're harped a lot on it's a separate program. It's a separate program. It's a separate program. You do get to eat lunch together, and there's no formal program during lunch. So it gives you a little bit of time to check in with your student and say, how are things going? Have you met anyone? Tell me about your advising session if you've had it. Tell me about your transition mentor, to try to, get them talking about their experience. And some students are like, I'm with my new friends, don't come near me. And some parents are like, I just made new friends, please go eat with some of your new friends. And so we have groups of parents, groups of students, we have families, we got everybody. And it's just kind of fun, a fun way, a downtime a little bit. We will schedule those lunches so that some students are at lunch, some students and parents are at lunch while other students are in advising, and then they flip that. And so we try to not overwhelm our food service people because they got lots of mouths to feed on those days. So the other things that I wanted to mention are just some of the additional programs that we have out of our office, and Alicia can share out of her office as well, because she does a lot of programming for first year students too. But we have some one-time events. Clash of the Colleges is a big deal on our campus. It's one of the highlights, I think, certainly of our transition mentors who take a lot of pride in their academic college. So it is the College of Business versus the College of Applied Studies versus the College of Engineering versus the Liberal Arts versus Health Professions versus Fine Arts. I think I got everybody. So they will start that competitive kind of spirit and games and all of that at orientation. That continues all summer long. We'll do some virtual kind of engagement opportunities there, but then they leave it all on the field the first Friday of the fall semester. And so that for us is a highlight of our year. It's a freshman tradition on our campus. We get hundreds of students out there. We had a big dance party last year. So you can expect your students to hear about that. You will hear about more of that, or you will hear more about that at orientation as well. Another program we do, it's typically the second, either Tuesday or Wednesday, normally Tuesday of the spring semester. we provide an opportunity. It's called the syllabus party. We provide an opportunity for students to get organized, because sometimes, even though they have high school syllabus with their classes and things, and they have to share that with you and then take it back and show their teachers. And yes, my parents reviewed it, and yes, they signed it and all of that. Very different on a college campus. For those of you who have experienced any college, you know how different that is. And for those of you who haven't, perfectly fine. It's different. Know that. So sometimes that can be an overwhelming process if your students are not the best at being organized. This is a fantastic opportunity for them to get a little bit of help. We'll have transition mentors. We'll have success coaches that will sit them down and say, let's look at all your syllabus. Most of them bring their laptops in, and it's all electronic now, but some of them still have paper copies that they bring with them. And we'll help them map all of that stuff out on a planner. We'll give them some resources. We'll give them some tips. If they have a good old-fashioned pen and paper, I think I'm literally the only person in meetings that still shows up with like meeting binders, because that's how I can best remember information and keep track of what the heck I'm doing. So if they're that kind of person, cool. If they're like, are you kidding me? This is what my iPad's for. Cool. We can help them in either way, but it helps get them organized academically for the semester. So we'll map out all of their assignments, all of their projects, all of their exams, so that they can kind of see and plan. A big, one of our mottos is let's see, how's it go? If you fail to plan, plan to fail. So we spend a lot of time talking with students about what is next. What do you need to be thinking about next? What is your next step? What is your next move? What's your next class? When's your next exam? Got to be preparing in advance, because it can become overwhelming really quickly for some students. So we want to make sure that we're providing opportunities for them to do that. We also have academic convocation. So part of that that fee that you pay for orientation, it's not just about that 2-day program. We have a common read book that they will be provided with in their first year seminar class. And then we have the author of that book come to speak every year at academic convocation. And so the students have a chance to maybe get their book signed or something like that. So it's paying for a textbook there. It's paying for these experiences, Clash of the Colleges, syllabus party. We have mentor meetups with our transition mentor, our student leaders. They will plan 3 events over the course of the fall semester once your students are here, to just socially engage with them and touch base, make sure everything's going okay, a safe place to ask questions, and they don't feel dumb asking questions, because everybody there is asking questions. We have a weekly freshman study hall in our Shocker Learning Center, and that's another place where your students can go, again, to just ask the questions. Our transition mentors are there as well. Kind of similar to, if you think about it, like a seminar hour in high school, there's a home base, a homeroom, someplace to go. They could always go every week if they wanted to. And so we try to provide, again, those services and opportunities for students to ask questions, and to feel okay asking them, and not feel like, everybody's going to know that I don't know what's going on and I don't have my stuff together. That's not true, because quite frankly, none of your freshmen have their stuff together. So they'll learn and they'll get there, but they don't always have it together right out of the gate. Let's see. What other things did I want to mention? I think I've run through. I did have a colleague of mine. I told her that I was talking with parents tonight, and she says, please encourage the parents to encourage their students to leave their significant others at home during orientation. Bringing a partner with you at orientation is it's distracting. It's really not good. We're going to split you up anyway. If you stick together, it's going to be a problem. We've seen it. We see it every summer. Someone's bringing bestie along or a partner along, and it really causes some issues, and it really gets in the way of your student connecting with campus. So if you can encourage them to leave their best friends and their partners at home during orientation, that would be great, because we've had some incidences before where we've had to intervene, and that's no fun for us, and it's not fun for you, and it's not fun for your students. So I was like, oh yeah, I probably should mention that. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things, but yeah, we're excited. Like I said, we got a countdown going to March 1st. And really, I think June 8th is our first date for our program. So we're looking forward to it. Our transition mentors are in their training program now. And they are pumped. This group of students are pumped to meet your students. So anything I'm missing, Alicia? Anything you want me to talk about that I haven't covered?
No, just the score. I mean, 39-40, Wichita State's up by 1. Go Shocks. And as your students enroll, they are ticket holders for every single basketball game for free. You're welcome. And so just a little plug there, because I know that some people were watching the game tonight as well. So, but really, it's an exciting time. This is it's both as a parent myself, both Kim and I have, kids, and we'll talk about that a little more during orientation and kind of what our experience is. And it's an exciting time, but it's also scary because, again, there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of things that are going to happen, and are we prepared? Are we not? But as an alum from the university, I will say the only reason our students will fail is because they fail to ask for help. There's so many resources available to our students that are free. Every student has a success coach that's assigned to them. That is a personal advocate, someone who is there to support them, encourage them, to help hold them accountable, to guide them. They have a care coordinator. If life gets interrupted by mental health, relationships, homesickness, anything of that nature, that is assigned to them. Free tutoring, just a lot of things for us to really provide wraparound services to create that community of care where students have that sense of belonging, and hopefully feel like, this is a place where they can thrive and be successful. And so we're excited to have your students on campus, and more importantly, really excited to connect with you all throughout their journey, because parents being a part of the process makes a huge difference. I can't express that enough. Having parents in, I know some of our families said, hey, this is my second kid, little less anxiety, but it never gets easier. I talk about, when, I was in, our parents, situation, you pull up and there's that anxiety and they take your kid to another room. I remember that same gut feeling in kindergarten when my kid went to a separate, and I'm stuck in the gym and I'm like, I'm not ready to let my baby go. And had that same feeling in middle school, that same feeling in high school. And it's something that we go through, but we're growing through it together. And so we talk a lot about right now, going from coaching to doing to moving to the sidelines. And what does that look like as a parent? How we navigate and encourage our students through that process. And just knowing that you have people on campus that are your allies and your supporters as well. And so that's where Kim and I get to come in and really engage with you and just help reassure you through the process, and kind of ease your mind, because there's going to be 101 questions that come up, and we get it. We've been there. And so just being able to bring those people in exactly when you need it. And so we know when parents are going to ask questions about fees and bills and how do they set up and when do they pay, we bring the experts to you in July. And specifically in July, once fees have posted to your student's account. And so we'll bring the individuals in to say, how do I set up a payment plan? How do I go in and pay for these things? And so just, stick around. We like to have fun. But more importantly, it's all about you. And so if there's questions, or even if there's topics that you're interested in, you don't have to wait until another one of these pop up. You can feel free to drop Kim or myself an email. We're both in the directory. It's our names, kim.sandlin@wichita.edu or alicia.newell@wichita.edu, and we'll respond. And so don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything that we can do for you in the interim. And just know that we are excited to welcome you to the Shocker family.
I would just take one last opportunity to talk a tiny bit about the enrollment process for anybody who might have questions. Once your student completes the orientation, selects their dates, and gives us the orientation information, as I mentioned before, depending on their major, they're launched into a whole series of questions. And that is what the advisor uses to build their schedule. Your advisor may reach out to you as the student. Most likely, they're going to use your Shockers email account. If you hear it once, you'll hear it 5 times every time we're in front of parents. They've got to look at that Shockers email account. And so, if your student is having problems accessing their account, reach out to the help desk. Typically, it's some kind of technical issue, especially as students are getting started in the process. Sometimes something just maybe isn't looking right on a technical end somewhere, and they can fix that up for you. Same thing happens with passwords. If you have problems with your logins and your passwords, help desk can help you with that. But your advisor may reach out to you to ask you questions. Maybe there's some missing test scores or something like that. Make sure that you're providing that information to your advisor in a timely basis, in a timely manner, because that's going to delay a couple of days potentially their ability to enroll you. But then they're going to send you the class schedule for you to approve. They're going to send it to the student, and the student will have 10 days to approve or ask questions. If there's no response from the student on the class schedule, the advisor will reach out multiple times in multiple ways. And if there's no response, we'll drop the classes, because we can't be keeping students in seats if that's not an approved kind of schedule. So yes, Alicia.
This is a great time because we have this conversation all the time. If your students do not have voicemail set up on their phone, this is the time to start preparing them to adults, which means we have a professional voicemail and we check our voicemail and we don't have full voicemail, so we can't leave messages. Because that is part of the problem, is that we will call, we will email, we will do everything in our power to connect with students. And the thing that is probably the most frustrating for parents is that once your student is enrolled, communications with parents no longer exist. The only communication that you will have with the university, hi, is from me. And that's through our newsletter. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that and what other ways that you can get information and how to go about obtaining that throughout the summer. But really, once that student is enrolled, and really reminding them from this moment on, you are adulting. And so it's your responsibility to check your email because mom and dad aren't doing it anymore. Or they can't because you should not have access to that email. And so it's really preparing them to be responsible young adults and ready to take, the reins of what their future looks like. And that's by, again, checking email, checking voicemails, and responding in a timely manner, because that's probably the biggest thing of, oh, I didn't know. And then Kim and I are turning a screen around and we're saying, oh, right here, we see this is when we sent it to you. And they're like, oh, I forgot to look at that. And then we see 500 emails that have never been opened. Yep. And so just, help us help them be successful by reminding them, hey, have you checked your Wichita State email? Because from now moving forward, they're going to start getting, hey, this is what your financial aid package is. This is what your scholarship package is. And so all of those things from here on out are going directly to their MyWSU email. Even confirmation for orientation. Parents always say, well, I didn't get anything, because you will not. Your student will receive it in their MyWSU email. And so just making sure that, parents come and they will complain, Lisa, I didn't get anything. Okay, well, how about your student? And really just saying, we are asking our students, the moment you step foot on our campus, you are then resuming responsibility for yourself, and you're able to help advocate and navigate for yourself by doing these things. And
Yep.
so it's exciting, and it also can be a little frustrating because they might not be used to that, but we're going to get them there. I promise we'll get them there.
Yep. And we'll do calls and whatnot before. We always call a few days before orientation to remind them as well. So we're not relying on a confirmation email, although we'll send that. We'll also send a reminder email. And so some of our information, like we will send, we're getting ready to send once we launch and things calm down from that a little bit, we'll send some information to the non-WSU email. Like if your student has like a Gmail account or something like that. But we only send one thing, and it's, it's time to sign up for orientation, and this is your process. And after that, no, it's at their Wichita State email. Now, also, I'm looking at time, and I know we're running up on our hour. I want to mention something that should not be difficult, but it is, and it's called email, and it's called the email address. And for those of you who maybe came to the parent information workshop that admissions did, we talked a little bit about this. Your student's email address is their first initial, middle initial, last name at shockers.wichita.edu. I'll repeat that. First initial, middle initial, last name at shockers.wichita.edu. I know some of you wrote that down. I know some of you are taking notes because these are the types of families that we have coming to these programs. And it's awesome because you all do take really good notes. What is not their email is their WSU ID, which is, say it is A123 Z978 at wichita.edu. That's a login for platforms and for systems that are contain private information and require a login. Okay, that is a login. That's a username. The ID, so the A123X742, whatever, at wichita.edu. That's a login. The email address contains the at shockers. Okay. Now, it also depends on if your student put their middle name on their application for admission. If they did, they'll have a middle initial. If they did not, they get an X. So it could be like mine, for instance, would be, if that was the situation, KX Sandlin at shockers.wichita.edu. If you have a common name, Smith, so A.B. Smith 4, because we have A.B. Smiths maybe. So if there's a number in their email. So this information, I believe, is shared with them in advance. If you're questioning, if you're a new student, or if your student is questioning, what the heck is my email address? What is happening? Contact One Stop, and they'll be able to walk you through that process. One Stop is a great wealth of information. Great. Thank you, Aaron. A shout out to Aaron for running the back end of things and making sure we're on time and doing what we need to do. That One Stop phone number is right there. It's 24/7. There's a chat available. During the day, we've got a physical location here on campus as well. But if you go to wichita.edu/one-stop and type in some questions and type in some keywords, you get a lot of information there. So start there if you have a question about something on campus. And the last thing I would leave you with is make sure that you are doing the best you can to connect with the resources on campus. Your students are admitted. Admissions does a great job of getting students through that process. Now is the time to connect with the people and the resources and the areas that can help you and your student as you transition into this process. So contact me, contact our office, contact Alicia, start making those connections early as a parent. And we can help you through that process. You don't always have to go to admissions. They're great and they'll help you. That's no problem. But the more you can encourage your student to connect with the different areas on campus, the earlier they can do that, the better, because the more comfortable they'll feel about how our campus, takes into account customer service, wraparound care, coordinated care, because we do, we all invest in your student just like you did, and will continue to do that. So know that we're here. Know that it's important for you all to connect. It's important for your students to connect, and then we'll help you along the way. So that's the last advice from me, and I know we're 2 minutes over, so I'm sorry about that, Alicia.
No, you're great. So if again you have any questions, things that come up in the future, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are excited to see you on campus this summer. I personally cannot wait to welcome you to the Shocker family. Getting to connect and meet with our parents is always one of my favorite things. Orientation is like one of my first loves. And so, next to graduation. And so, but really excited to have you all join us here shortly. In a few months, and we look forward to connecting with you at other upcoming Shocker Family Parent Table Talks. And until then, stay connected, follow us on social media, join us to get information from our family newsletter, and stay warm. It's a little cold out there today. Stay warm and go Shocks. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.